Welcome to game number 1 here between MarineLorD and Wam. In this best of 3, we've got MarineLorD spawning in here in the north, playing as the French in the color blue. Who's he going to be playing up against?
Oh, his opponent, I'm glad you saved this one for me, playing as the color red and as the Holy Roman Empire again, using that prelate spreading the word of their Lord Jesus Christ to all of those villagers. It is Wam01, the first of his kind. This is a rather historic matchup as far as AoE 4 goes. This has been a very talked about matchup, especially for how French favorite it usually is, and especially all the way back in, I don't know, MrMerlin, if you remember, back in Season 0, when HRE Spearmen couldn't brace.
Oh, yeah. That's when the French were really OP.
Yeah, for sure. But, I mean, it's a little bit, the matchup is a little bit tightened now that, you know, Spearmen actually do their job. It helps.
Yeah. I mean, French, I would still say, have the better matchup here. They're still certainly favored. So we'll have to see what Wam can look to do about that. As we see, he's got a perfect Archon Chapel position over here. Have a look at that. If he doesn't put an Archon Chapel here, I will be amazed. Because this is perfect. You get the gold, you get the stone, wood.
It's got everything you need, right? It's got all 4 resources. You can even, with the sheep that Wam gets out of his scout, which however many he ends up getting, you just put it to the north side of your town center. You end up getting that range too. That prelate megaphone going to be able to hit every single resource for you in feudal. And when you're playing against the French, I mean, you need all the help you can get.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. Wam, you know, he may be in a tough matchup here, especially up against MarineLorD. You know, if there's anyone you want to get a good spawn up against, it's definitely MarineLorD. So, you know, he's got that going for him at least. MarineLorD on the other side. Looks like he's going for a fast age up here. Going to be dropping down his school of cavalry very soon. Can't quite make up his mind where he wants the lumber camp there.
Man, that school of cavalry go down with 4 villagers. Let's see that Archon Chapel placement.
What?
Merlin, you got something to say, bud?
I am amazed. The only reason that I think this could be the case is because if you place it here, your wood line is, you know, it's slightly further away from this wood line. Therefore, you're more likely to get raided by knights. But you are missing out on a gold and a stone. So, yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that Archon Chapel placement would be a little bit more forward when you're up against Royal Knights of MarineLorD playing as the French. This guy has Parisian blood in his veins. He's one with the civilization. So using Royal Knights, especially for those forward areas, to be honest, I mean, if I was Wam, I'd be a little apprehensive about putting that Archon Chapel up there too. I understand how greedy it is, but playing against the French, you might not want to be as greedy as you would maybe a different civilization, to the point where Wam is even already outposting the gold mine up to the north because he knows he's going to have some French Royal Knights in its face pretty soon.
Yeah, that's a really early outpost out of Wam here. MarineLorD is going to be able to scout that one out, so we'll have to see if he actually does look to add in knights, as he's about to get through that age up. He's macroing towards it seems, not going for any sort of wheelbarrow in transition, just looking to get out this knight as early as possible as he gets the age up through before the 4-minute mark. So super early age up for him before the Holy Roman Empire age up as well.
Yeah,
Certainly
that is
early.
like, that's a textbook school of cavalry build, and now for the French, we're kind of getting to those 4-minute school of cavalries with those knights coming out. So Wam doing a good job prophylactically putting that barracks down just to make sure he has a couple spearmen in this area, not necessarily with the Fuel Age upgrade yet, but is going to try to get a little bit of stone now with these couple villagers. I mean, it makes me very quick to think, oh, second town center, but those outpost upgrades for the Holy Roman Empire are a little bit cheaper, and the fact that he's not putting a mining camp down signals to me that he just wants to get some arrow slits. He just wants 37 stone. That's all he needs.
Could possibly be the case. Maybe it is. I mean, if he is going for a second CC, this is going to take him a long time. Yeah, I think it... Oh, okay. I mean, he's a little... Oh, no, there it is. He does have enough. Okay, there it is. Arrow slits. No second CC.
remember for the HRE, they have 14 resources, so you only need 3.
Oh, yeah, true. Looks like a stable is going to get dropped down here for Wam as well. Going to be adding in spears, as well as some horsemen. Couple of spears just guarding this Archon Chapel positioning. I still would have thought this would be a better spot for the Archon Chapel, but you know, I'm no professional, so I'll take Wam's word for it.
I think Merlin's mad he predicted wrong. So
yeah. I've got every Archon Chapel right.
If you're watching this back, Wam, don't know it's not a slight to you. It's just Merlin's just upset.
But Wam already going into farms here. We see he doesn't have many sheep underneath this TC, so very, very early farms coming through for him.
Yeah, and I actually really like the early farm transition now. Spearman trying to get onto that scout, but I think they will both be escaping. I really like the early farms from Wam because those outside food resources for HRE, they are not going to be available to you. As the French, you need to get a decent amount of resources spent on military production in order to actually capture some of those, and you still might lose some villagers. Now, MarineLorD does have a little bit higher economic count, obviously because of the French getting those villagers a little bit quicker, but is trying to expand on that by adding a second town center. He does have the 400 stone, just got to get that wood, and he'll be placing it shortly.
Yeah, where could he be? It would probably just be on like a deer patch or something, but this is where it starts to become a little bit rough here for Wam. What's his next plan? Because he's investing quite a bit of wood into farms here. Doesn't have down a second TC. I guess maybe a Castle Age? That could be his next plan of action. Because you can't just let French sit here on 2 TC.
No, it's going to be super difficult to, as the HRE, to actually kill some French villagers. That's not what the HRE is good at. That's not what they usually do. So I kind of agree with you in terms of the Castle Age. I think Wam has enough production right now to kind of hold. He does have some outposts that are going to help him out with some emergency repairs also that can help him out in the interim as well. But I feel like if he sticks around in feudal, I feel like he's just playing into French's hands, don't you think?
Yeah, for sure. But it's going to be hard for him to make it towards the Castle Age because he's having to invest all of this wood into farms. You know, his economy is, you know, not as big as MarineLorD's, but he may be able to change that here. Archers getting picked off. Town center, it looks like it is going to get up in time, though. He's going to be able to garrison that, and these spears, a couple of them will get picked off here by that TC fire. And now Wam's going to be retreating back to the base. So Wam, at the moment, he's down by 3 villagers. And it looks like he is now going to be looking towards that Castle Age. As we see here, starting to float up quite a bit of gold, quite a bit of food. Adding in more and more farms here and there as well. So making a full farm transition now underneath that Archon Chapel.
Yeah, I think those couple archers that Wam ended up killing from MarineLorD, it just buys him a little bit of time. You know, those 2 or 3 archers end up going down. That means less in that big French feudal mass that they like to do, and it's not going to be on the HRE doorstep anytime soon because Wam took the fight to MarineLorD back near that second town center. So now he did have units in production. He stopped queuing them, so Knight's going to get a good charge in on that scout, so not that much vision, but he does have 1 scout left. Wam can now macro to castle. He's done so effectively, and we see the Regnitz Cathedral gets popped down right at this second. There it is, and we also see Wam dropping down a stable with this, so probably going to be looking to go into some knights here alongside with the Relic pickup operation. So you see, most of them are located on the left-hand side of the map here. MarineLorD at the moment doesn't have that much of an army out. He's got 3 Royal Knights, 7 archers. It looks like he's still pumping out a few more knights, as well as grabbing himself chivalry. So we'll have to see how well he can do at denying away these relics. Hasn't got any sort of villager out here boxing these up, so I think it's going to be a little bit difficult for him to do that. Doesn't have any sort of spears down either. So, you know, 3 or even 2 or 3 knights out from Wam is going to be enough to deal with this army. Yeah, I think Wam's got to tip his cap to the AoE 4 gods for this spawn. the knights that are going to come out for the HRE, obviously, just because they're casted, they're going to be a little bit better than those Royal Knights. Chase them in the opposite direction. You're right from MarineLorD. There's no barracks. There's no spearmen out here. So Wam did a good job of not sacrificing too much map control, which the HRE could have a propensity to do in Feudal Age, and instead, he's taking some fights near MarineLorD, and it means that MarineLorD doesn't have that much of a presence around the map. Wam can get his couple of knights out and get a prelate or two and start scooping these things up.
Wam hasn't actually moved out for a single relic yet. It's really smart because he knows that MarineLorD is going to be out here with knights, and that's exactly what he's doing, right? So Wam, he's just waiting to get out a couple knights of his own, a couple spears in here as well. And that's going to be enough to push back MarineLorD now, and I'm sure we'll be seeing a prelate. There he goes. First one going to be heading out towards the first relic over here. As Wam is just waiting on a couple more knights. Lacking a little bit when it comes to the food, but that shouldn't be too much of a problem for him. Ark and Chapel here boosting up all of these nice farms. I don't think we have any sort of eco upgrades. In fact, we've got no upgrades through here for Wam. But he's up to the next stage, and he's got Castle Age Knights, so these are going to be some good units here. We see he's up to 3. Looks like knight numbers here for MarineLorD still in a decent spot. He's up to 5, so, you know, 5 up against 2 Castle Age is still going to be a favorable fight here for MarineLorD. Looks like the prelate is going to get taken down. Not even an attempt at a Wallow.
Yeah, it kind of feels like with that prelate, you paid a little bit of gold just for some extra field position, right? With that relic a little bit closer to your base, so it helps you out. These lancers, or these knights though, excuse me, from the HRE, quite tanky. A couple knights go down from MarineLorD, only 2 of them. Not going to be enough to deal with Castle Age knights. As long as Wam can keep going with this knight production, get a mass enough to get French off of their front doorstep, Wam can start to take those relics.
I mean, we see there both did lose 2 knights in that fight, which, you know, that's all right for Wam. He's going to be able to heal up these 2 as well with his prelate. Still yet to bring in a relic, though. MarineLorD's just pumping out the knights. He's pumping out the archers. He's up to 7. And MarineLorD, he's slowly gaining that economic lead. He's just trying to delay the relic pickups for as long as possible to where he can build up a mass, build up his economy to a point where he can go Castle Age and look to just overwhelm Wam.
Yeah, and that kind of gets to a point with MarineLorD. You can see the economic count 63 to 43. First relic finally gets popped in the cathedral, so it's going to help him a little bit with the economic problem that he's dealing with. But you're exactly right for MarineLorD. It's a little bit of stalling just until that relic gets to the point, because once you get all of those French villagers, it just means you have the economy that not only produce knights but go up to castle at the same time, and then you hit that Royal Institute. So definitely fantastic analysis by you. But now there's a good enough knight mass from Wam. MarineLorD is not one with those French knights to get caught off place, though.
As Bo3 says in the chat, MarineLorD has an absolutely amazing spawn here when it comes to relics. He can just focus all on this left-hand side here, where all 3 relics do sit. And this last one, I mean, it's going to be hard for Wam to try and grab that one.
Yeah, that's what is really nice. He doesn't need to spread out, right? I mean, it's one of the things that you think about when you're playing against someone like the Delhi. Because you have multiple sacred sites, you got to be in 3 places at once. MarineLorD, obviously, against the HRE doesn't have that issue, but also because of all of those relics being there. Now, just because they're on Wam's side doesn't necessarily think it's going to be beneficial to him, but this one might get scooped up. He has a couple prelates and enough knights, maybe to create a distraction. MarineLorD actually backs up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, these are Castle Age knights. They're far superior to Feudal Age, but MarineLorD, he's got a real mass here. That's a lot of knights. MarineLord's going to be committing to it. Does he get it? Oh, that was too close for comfort. That was too close for comfort. But MarineLorD, it was worth the risk of diving that relic. That's going to be denied a relic away from Wam.
Yeah, and I think this knight count is kind of getting out of hand here, Merlin. 17 for MarineLorD with 4 in the queue. He has the potential to keep producing, and again, this is going to become a quantity over quality.
No blacksmith upgrades coming through from either player when it comes to knights. We do see MarineLorD is finally going to be grabbing his +1 ranged attack upgrade, which is a little bit surprising, I guess. It's an interesting choice. I would have thought fitted leather work would have been the first choice here. up against Knights, but I guess getting that +1 ranged attack is quite important, especially when you're starting to build up an archer mass like this. Looks like MarineLord's coming in once again. Chivalry coming in real handy for him here. Knight Army's going to be clashing. Some TC fire and outpost fire going to be helping out here. But Wam just doesn't have a big enough mass to deal with this.
No, it's kind of difficult for Wam because he feels like he has the units. He just doesn't have too much of them, and he keeps continuing to be stuck behind his base, which is so frustrating for the HRE player to do, continuing to only have one relic, and we're about to hit the 16th minute of this game.
Seems like Wam has snuck around the side of the map here, so may be able to pick one of them up. Hopefully MarineLord doesn't notice that, as you will see the little icon disappear from the map. But Wam, he's still looking to just pump out Knights. Interestingly, hasn't decided to add in any sort of spears. MarineLord does have archers to counter that, but yeah, we just got such a huge mass of Royal Knights right here for MarineLord.
Yeah, emergency repairs are going to save that outpost, but only for the time being. I mean, every time those Knights, just because of how many Knights there are, you just wait a little bit, you let them go in on a charge, and then you back up. And he's just doing this over and over again, and it's working.
Uh-oh. I think, yeah, MarineLord knows. He knows about the Relic coming home, I think. Maybe? I think Wam...
that prelate's going to start praying if he wants to stay alive.
Yeah. Wam's numbers are looking better and better, though. He's up to 17 up against 25. And the bigger the masses grow here, the better it is for Wam. Because he's obviously got Castle Age Knights here. But MarineLord, it looks like he's going to be aging up relatively soon. And we see his economy behind this is significantly higher than Wam's. Where's that Royal Institute? There it is. It's coming down.
Oof.
This could be huge.
That's the kicker.
Exactly. Like, he's going to have 30 Royal Knights upgraded to the Veterancy status with Royal Bloodlines. What is Wam going to be able to do about this? He's got a second Relic coming in. I think it's almost home. Yeah, there he sits. But I don't think it's going to be enough. I mean, MarineLord's economy right now is so far ahead. And I mean, the Knight count, we see there the army value, just so huge for MarineLord, and especially when this upgrade comes in. This is going to be the game changer. I think MarineLord can just dive the base of Wam.
Yeah, I think this is when it kind of flips on its head, because we talked about quantity for MarineLord, but usually the HRE like to play an age up, and we saw them in Castle Age go against MarineLord's feudal. But now with Royal Bloodlines that will come in about a minute, those Knights, not exactly Castle Age either. They're pseudo Imperial, and they're gonna have canted saddles with them also. I mean, for Wam, it's not a fight you want to take, because now you're the one making the inferior unit.
Exactly. Like, these Knights, everything about them is better than Wam's Knights. When it comes to their charge attack, when it comes to their health, when it comes to their damage even. We see Wam, he has barely any blacksmith upgrades, has no melee defense, no melee, well, he has one melee attack, now grabbing his first melee defense, but MarineLord's way, way ahead. And now we're about half a minute away from that upgrade coming through. How is Wam going to be able to deal with this? We see here MarineLord trying to get in a charge here or there. Looks like he's just going to be falling back, waiting for this upgrade to come through.
Oh, it's absolutely perfect, this micro. I think we all need to take a second and marvel at that. You know, he's not letting Wam get any charges off. He's also, one of these civs is adding a range mass behind. You can see Arbaletre in the queue for him, so we'll be able to help him out as well. Royal Bloodlines comes in, all of a sudden, big battle, Merlin.
He's going to be taking the fight here. Royal Bloodline comes in. We see he's got plus 80 health on these bad boys. He's got an even amount of Knights for compared to Wam. But these Knights are just way, way better. And we see here, Wam's numbers starting to dwindle down to 20. MarineLord still at 28. Wam going to get pushed into the base here, and now the farming economy of Wam going to get under pressure. MarineLord has his +1 range defense as well, so not going to be taking too much damage underneath that TC. MarineLord looking in such a good spot.
One of these things that we forget about with these Castle Age Knights, because we talk about Royal Bloodlines so much, what really helps them in the middle of this battle is having canted saddles, having +10 on your attacks after that charge. It just makes them such a volatile unit. Wam doesn't even want to deal with it anymore, he calls it.
MarineLorD going to be taking game number 1 here in this best of 3. Let's take a look at the stats there. Yeah, I mean, that just shows everything, right?
Yeah, I mean, do we need... I mean, usually we did a lot of post-game analysis, but, like, do we need to this time?
I don't think so.
No.
We see there the military, the villager. I mean, the only thing Wam had going for him that game was the age up. If he got some relics in the bank, you know, then he could have started to he could have grabbed lots of blacksmith upgrades, started to produce more knights. He may have been looking much stronger, but unfortunately, MarineLorD, you know, he just had next level aggression over those relics. So, well played by MarineLorD. He's going to be taking this one up in this best of 3.
I mean, Wam could not capitalize on that increased age. I'm going to do post-game analysis anyway. I don't care. We have a little bit of time. He couldn't capitalize on his age differential, right? He was trying to make knights to go up against the Royal Knights, the Feudal Royal Knights, and MarineLorD. It just never seemed like he was able to get a mass of them, for one. And for two, wasn't able to get those relics all the way in the back to kind of help him with that knight production too. And then after that, I mean, you had 30 Royal Knights that ended up becoming infused with Royal Bloodlines. I don't know how they swap out the horse that quickly, but adding that 80 health in that area, it just you're not topping that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what's so strong about the French and 2TC. Like when they have a superior economy like that, and then they age up to the Castle Age with the Royal Institute, just all of the Castle Age upgrades that they can grab are just so damn good. Like, you've got chivalry in there as well. So all of your knights, you know, while you're aging up, they can be healing, waiting for the push in Castle Age. And then as soon as you age up, boom, Royal Bloodlines, boom, cancered saddles. And then you've also got, you know, your veterancy upgrade. You instantly get tier 2 melee attack. There's just so many things for French knights that just make them so good. And MarineLorD played it perfectly. Showed off the power right there of French knights in the Castle Age.
And even the micro that we highlighted, while he was torching down some production buildings, he got down a stable, he got down an outpost, something like that. But all he was doing, he was probably not only looking at his knights, looking at his eco. Obviously, you're doing so many different things when you're playing Age of Empires, right? But looking at the Royal Bloodlines upgrade, you saw him start to go in a little bit. Wham trying to get a charge. It almost looked like a jousting field just because of how many knights were there. But MarineLorD just wouldn't allow it. He just made sure that no charge was able to be taken, even though they were veteran status. He waited for those Royal Bloodlines, and as soon as he got the notification that Royal Bloodlines was researched, he's like, all right, it's go time. Let's get it.
It was instant, right? Literally, as soon as the upgrade came in, he was there ready to pounce onto Wam's army, and then, you know, he would have just wiped out his economy. So really, really well played there by MarineLorD. But we're going to be hopping into game number 2. And it's Chinese versus the Abbasid dynasty on the map Lipany here. What do you think of this?
It's interesting. I thought MarineLorD, because you could take a look at what was his civilizations over there on the left side of your screen. I thought MarineLorD was going to go Delhi on Lipany just because of how good the Delhi Sultanate is. But I'm going to hold that thought because we did get a raid from EGC TV. Hey, we know you guys. You're the mainstream.
Welcome, everyone.
For the raid. We are in a banger of a final series. It's Wam versus MarineLorD. MarineLorD took the first one, French versus HRE. Is Wam gonna claw back in this game too on EGC Lipany against the Chinese? It's it could get rough.
It definitely could, but Wam playing as the Abbasid dynasty here on Lipany. He's got to be feeling pretty happy about that one. But MarineLorD, he's on the Chinese, and we all know him on the Chinese. That's going to be a tough one here for Wam. So we'll have to see how he does. But we're just about ready to hop into the game here. So let's head over.
I do want to, now that we have a group of people, I'm sorry, I'm going to do this joke again because somebody mentioned your tie and your outfit.
God.
It was Bring Your Child to Work Day, and I decided to bring MrMerlin as a co-caster. So let's go ahead with the introductions, Merlin. Let's get it.
All right, welcome to game number 2 here between MarineLorD and Wam. Spawning in here on the left-hand side of the map, it is MarineLorD playing as the Chinese in the color red.
And his opponent in this pivotal game 2, playing as the color blue, playing as the Abbasid dynasty, it is Wam01, the first of his kind. And now for Wam, again, we're seeing this a lot with Abbasid, still going for those sheep, not so much for the berries.
Yeah, I mean, it's something we've discussed in pretty much every Abbasid Dynasty game today. But no build orders now involve Dark Age berries, which is really, really interesting because right at launch, we saw everyone look to jump on the berries. And it's something still the Abbasid, the Delhi do. But it works a lot better with the Delhi because their mill, they can train wheelbarrow, they can grab survival techniques in there as well for free. So, you know, they really want to get down a mill as early as they possibly can. Whereas for the Abbasid here, they'd rather just save the wood and not have to chop for that lumber camp or the House of Wisdom, whichever one they decide to build first.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. And taking a look over at the Chinese side of things, you talk about the mill, but the Imperial official, again, I'm thinking that these IOs are magicians. I'm going to ask you again because you didn't tell me the first time. Your name is MrMerlin, so you're part of that magical school. Just because of those IOs and they can pull those resources out of thin air, are they your classmates in magical school?
I cannot answer that. I'm sorry.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry. I can't.
This guy's the worst.
I would be exposing them for what they truly are. Evil masterminds at work. They're basically con artists.
I mean, it definitely seems that way. From the 10 resources that are going in, somehow 12 are coming out. I don't know. Not going to focus on it too much, or my head's going to be in the mental gymnastics. I'm just not prepared for it. But Wam going with the House of Wisdom, obviously, and we'll be going for the economic wing. What do you think about that choice?
I like it here. We're going to have to see how it does up against MarineLorD, because MarineLorD, I'm sure, is going to be going into Song Dynasty, maybe 2, maybe even 3 town centers from him. But my prediction here is that MarineLorD's going to be going 2 TC up against Wam on 3.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of, for the Abbasid Dynasty, especially when you're going up against Song Dynasty, you kind of need to. You know, the Abbasid Dynasty does really well at booming, and I would say these are the 2 civilizations, especially when you're in Feudal Age. Both of them, they just love booming. And you see the Chinese MarineLorD going with Imperial Academy. So with both of these civs being as passive as they are, especially in Feudal Age, Wam can get away with that 3rd town center, and he knows that China's not going to have that, you know, something like a Royal Knight or something like that trying to take apart their stone mine. They can just kind of do it pretty peacefully.
Yeah, exactly. And having a look at the 2nd TC options here for Wam, this is a juicer right here. Have a look at that. Double deer spot, basically on top of each other. That's a really, really nice spot right there.
It's an infestation of deer with both of those deer patches together. You can't tell when one patch starts and the other one begins.
You really can't.
But it's a super good town center spot. Although the one thing about it, even though it is nice because of all the deer, it is rather forward. So if MarineLorD did want to take an aggressive approach and go more in the Zug Nu category, it could be a target of attack for him.
That is true, but we do have a nice little cliff here that provides some protection. You know, a little wall here, little wall here. You're creating some nice little choke points. Pretty easy, right? It's not exactly hard to get up a couple walls on this position, but as you say, it is quite far away from the main TC. Stable down now from Wam, so probably going to be looking to go into some horsemen. MarineLorD, on the other hand, he's just about to reach that Feudal Age. Barbican should be coming down from him very shortly. Is he going for a bit of a forward Barbican, or was that just a misclick? I saw some villagers starting to move out for a second there.
I don't know, there could be a potential for some cheeky play. As we all know from watching Chinese, they are the kings of cheese. And they do have quite the cheesy strategies, but this Barbican going to be a little bit safer and more protective over there to the north of his starting town center, while Wam, on the flip side, starting to go to those stone mines. I want to check that House of Wisdom, because I want to make sure those crescents are fertile before we start doing anything.
They sure are. And it looks like Wam He's not going to be too far away from that second TC, and I think we will be seeing a third TC out of him. I'll be very surprised if we don't. Though, in saying that, MarineLord's got down a barracks here, and he's not looking to move out for any stones, so maybe we don't see a second TC out of MarineLord here. Are we going to be seeing a bit of a fast castle, probably? Maybe?
I mean, there's a lot of potential for a lot of different things, Merlin. I mean, you could do a fast castle if MarineLord wants to do that and kind of run some palace guards in to Wam while he's trying to get all of those town centers. Or, on the other side, you can go for some kind of Zugnu all-in rush, which the Chinese like to do in Feudal Age. Difficult for Wam just because he doesn't have any of those heavy units like other civs do, like men-at-arms or knights or anything like that. So if he does produce a lot of Zugnu, he could have the potential. But look at that forward town center, Merlin. You called it. I'll tell you what, throughout the entire stream, you've been calling things like a champ. Good for you.
Thank you. It's what I have my magic hat on, so I just sort of see these things happening, and I call it out for you guys.
Obviously, I'm not part of the magical school, so I do not get a hat, sadly. But MarineLord is going to go for that second town center on the stone. Just had a spearman more so as a protective force before he wanted to go out. But again, Abbasid being as passive as they are, they do have one horseman over there with the scout just trying to, you know, annoy MarineLord around that stone mine. So now that he has a couple spearmen there, it means that's not going to happen. Second town center we did see from Wam on that delectable deer patch. That third one you can see on the minimap on the bottom right hand part of your screen, right to the opposite of the wood line on the western side for Wam. So did go 3 town centers. Merlin, you're on a roll.
Did I predict this one?
Yes, you did.
Oh,
not on the wood line,
I sure
but
did.
the third town center.
Oh yeah. Easy prediction. But MarineLord, he's going to be adding in a second town center as well. And I got to say, I love the way these players, they know each other so well. And MarineLord, he got out spears before, you know, he knew that Wam was going to get out a couple horsemen here or there. So I love the fact that he's grabbed these spearmen and he read Wam perfectly. And now he's going to be adding in that second TC. And surprisingly, this is quite far out for a Chinese play. Usually, Chinese bases, they're very condensed. Usually we see the second TC being dropped right next to the first TC, but MarineLord here starting to take a different approach. You know, he's going to be building his TC over on this deer pack, and Wam looks like he's going to be a little bit of a pain here with the deer pack, just trying to pick off a couple deer. Just try and push them away as far as he can.
And that little bit is just so annoying. I mean, I tried to explain this actually to one of my coworkers who doesn't play AoE 4 at all, and I don't know why he was entertaining this conversation with me, but with these deer, like, just having them a couple tiles different means every time those villagers drop off, it's that much of a delay. For how many times they drop off, say they drop off 15 times, 15 times that delay happens. So you might think, well, you know, it's just a little bit of micro, a little bit of APM, but if you have that to spare, it really does make a difference.
Wam's going for quite a big wall here. Looks like he really wants to wall off the left-hand side of the map, and it makes sense. He's also doing the same on the right. So really starting to make a choke point here in the center of the map. Wam, he's on 3 TC. He's got fresh foodstuffs in, so not going to be paying as much for his villagers. Whereas MarineLord, he's still having to pay the same amount. 50 villagers every 15 seconds. Whereas Wam, it's only 32 every 20 seconds. So Wam, he's going to be feeling pretty happy about this. MarineLord's going to be able to keep up with that villager count pretty well. I mean, he's not going to be too far behind. Song Dynasty 2 TC can stay up with Abbasid 3 TC pretty effectively. And you got to remember, you've also got the Imperial officials in here as well. They can always be boosting up the food like we see down here. So whatever Wam is making up on the food with fresh food stuffs, MarineLord is going to be making up with the Imperial official supervising up this mill.
But even, I mean, I know you're talking about the economy, but take a look at MarineLord's military production right now. 3 archery ranges. He's adding a lot of Zugnu in the queue. The issue is it going to be just a little bit too late? Because Wam already hit the Castle Age button. It will take 1:45 seconds, whether you like it or not, as the Abbasid dynasty, but he will be going up with the military wing. MarineLorD, if he's gonna act and do some kind of feudal oppression, feudal aggression, he's gotta do it now.
Yeah, he's got to be fast about this. He's got down triple archery range. He's not supervising any of these up, but starting to build up a real mass now. But we see here, Wam. Well, he's got somewhat of a wall. Most of it's complete. He's missing just a little bit of it down here, but that's still enough of a wall to where MarineLorD's going to take a long time to get around here.
Hey, Merlin, words to live by. A wall is as strong as its weakest link. Okay, and looking at it on the south, you know what I see? I know you're like, oh, well, that's, you know, it's about a 70% wall. You know what I see? It's a 30% gaping hole that Zugnu can really run through, but he will be able to repair that.
Yeah, luckily Wam is out here, able to repair this one up. Hasn't finished this one. Unfortunately, a big gold vein is in the way, so maybe he just looks to, you know, finish this one up. There we go. There we go.
I was literally gonna repeat myself. Say that is a gaping hole. But now, Wam sees the aggression right now. Military count 27-3 in favor of MarineLorD. A lot of those being Zugnu, and I hope you guys have Ram emotes in chat because MarineLorD is trying to take Wam to Ram Ranch.
This is somewhat reminding me of last week when we had Puppy Paw versus Wam, and Puppy Paw did a Chukanu all-in on MarineLorD. This isn't exactly the same as MarineLorD here is on 2TC, and he's got some spear in here as well, but it's oddly similar.
Yeah, it is. And Wam just hitting Castle Age, I feel like MarineLorD is kind of like, ah, crap, I gotta do something here. So he makes a third ram that's gonna help him out. Again, very high in the military production, but Wam queuing a bunch of those armored units that's really gonna help him out against the Zugnu. Men-at-Arms, Lancers, and even maybe a crossbowman or two that might actually help him out as well. But that wall is going to be very quickly disintegrated. Those rams doing that extra damage against that wall. You can see that one ram hit down to 60%. Zugnu with those repeater crossbows are almost like hummingbirds to a tree when it comes to those walls, and will be going down as well. Couple rams coming into that town center. Let's see if Wam has enough units to hold this.
I think Wam will be able to hold this easily. He's got 2 camel riders already out. We see the amount of lancers that he's got in the queue at the moment is huge. He's got six in the queue. He's got 7 men-at-arms already out on the field. Wam may want to grab himself +2 ranged attack. I feel like that could be an upgrade that would come in really, really clutch here. But MarineLorD, he's still able to find some good damage here. You know, this TC starting to run a little bit low on HP. He's picked up a couple villagers here or there as well. In fact, he's picked off 2. The Chukanu going to be slowly retreating back now. Villagers going to be starting to focus down the rams. And it looks like MarineLorD is looking towards a castle age of his own. So he doesn't really want to lose as many Chukanu here. He wants to try and keep these alive for the age up, as I'm sure that will be coming through very, very shortly. There we go. Age up coming through. Astronomical clock tower. 13 villagers on that landmark.
Just because the Chinese can build as fast as they do, that clock tower is going to go up in a blink of an eye. But this is a really good display of game sense from MarineLorD. And I know for all of us, even us casters and people watching, we're like, yeah, you shouldn't make more Zugnu. You shouldn't be doing this. But a lot of people in this situation, they might think this is your all-in. This is put up or shut up time. MarineLorD notices that it's not. And he's adding a couple Zugnu, but goes up with that clock tower to probably get some upgrades in that particular area, or take a transition off, because although he has a couple Zugnu, adding things like crossbowmen against a lot of the armored mass that Wam has could go a long way as well.
Hey, MarineLorD, he's got a huge mass of Chukanu. We see veterancy upgrades coming through, as well as balanced projectiles. MarineLorD's mass isn't useless. Like, this mass is going to be really, really strong here in just a second once this tier 2 upgrade comes through. Wam is finally going to be grabbing himself wedged rivets. So they're going to be cancelling each other out here. But MarineLorD, he's coming in again for round 2 on this town center. Only the 1 ram is standing in the base. That knight just being such a pain right there.
It is a huge pass. Now that Zugnu, just having that little bit of extra damage might help him out, but the wedge rivets end up canceling. That is a huge Lancer raid that you pan to on the south side. There's no outpost, there's no nothing. Look at how many villagers are over there.
There's 33.
Oh,
MarineLorD, he's not even going to bother moving these ones. He's just going to get some spears on the case. MarineLorD has his +2 ranged attack through now on his Chukanu. So there we can see finally able to do some good damage again onto that army. But this is the real problem for him. We see he's losing out on so many workers. He's currently down by 11. We see 7 kills at the moment for Wam, but that's only going to go up as we see now Wam starting to make his way into the base of MarineLorD. So many men-at-arms here, so many knights still on the way, and Wam actually starting to add in some archers once again.
Yeah, I actually really like the archers because he's predicting what MarineLorD's going to do. You can see MarineLorD in the queue. He's adding crossbowmen. He's got 8 on the field, 2 in the queue, so he sees some already. He just knows archers are more cost-efficient in order to do that, and hopefully he'll be able to mass enough to take down a lot of those crossbowmen. The one thing from MarineLorD, just because I know he's been rated a decent amount, especially in the gold category, and he's trying to make units, but that clock tower continues to remain idle. It's just a pretty building right now.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really afford to make units out of this at the moment. Wam doesn't have exactly the biggest ranged force here. Like, sure, Nester Bees are good up against melee units, which they probably shouldn't be, but they are. But Wam still has a huge force here that, you know, he'll just be able to dive on top of the Nester Bees. So it's fully understandable here. Adam MarineLorD just needs to build up a big enough mass for the time being. Adding in quite a few crossbow. We see he's up to 13. And now, actually now going to be adding in some Palace Guard. Hopefully he can try and jump on top of this Mangonel from Wam. But Wam, if he can get off some good shots here with this Mangonel, could be pretty huge for him. Huge shot. Not doing too much damage though.
No, it's not necessarily going to one-tap. I mean, another Mangonel shot. Let's see how good this one
that
is.
One was
That's
much
a
better.
Decent amount of damage. That ranged mass, most of it at about 50% health. All we need is one really good mango shot. That mango, oh, those rocks had wings on them for how big that range was. A lot of those archers end up going down. Clock Tower sprinkled now from MarineLorD. Now that it's the Clock Tower variety, gonna need a lot of sprinkles. That was massive, Merlin.
Huge. Oh, Wam, I mean, he lost the Mangonel, but that Mangonel brought so much value. Look, it's enough for now the archers of Wam to be able to pepper down the rest of the crossbow and Chukanu mass here by themselves. As we have more men-at-arms going to be running in. MarineLorD's economy under pressure. Textiles is in, but still, he's going to be losing lots of villagers. We see Wam has taken out 20 villagers this game. We've got more raids going on. Lancers everywhere on the map right now. 23 villagers being idled out for MarineLorD. Nester Bee does make its way out. Going to be able to push back the ranged army of Wam. But Wam is going to be reacting to this with some springles. Maybe a little bit too close as MarineLorD is going to be making his way forward with that Nester Bee.
That Beehive getting some good stings on that one archer in particular, but now that he's able to make some field siege, he's going to make some springles. A keep, not necessarily a face keep, I'll call it maybe a neck keep because of how forward it is. But with these textiles, like you said, for the Chinese villagers and how much raiding Wam is doing, I don't think a new change of clothes is going to help him.
He needs to get up the second springle. Oh, huge damage put onto the springle right there. See, taken down to over or under half HP. Keep drop coming through for Wam. 10 villagers on the keep right there. Looks like this clock tower springled will get taken down. Wam's still in a really good position on this front line. I felt like he could have gone even more aggressive with this keep, but you got to be careful of Nester Bees coming out from the clock tower. And with that, GG's going to get called. Wam going to be taking the game here, which means it's now 1-1 in this best of 3. I believe that's the second game MarineLorD has won in this. MarineLorD has lost in this whole tournament, which is absolutely crazy. So, big respect to Wam for being able to take that game off him. And who knows, maybe he takes the set off him as we now go to the decider match.
Yeah, I mean, I think MarineLorD, just with a little bit of post-game analysis here, I think MarineLorD, his feudal aggression that he was trying to do, it wasn't quick enough. He didn't do all of the damage that he really wanted to do. That town center that was forward that we talked about, we were like, it's in a dangerous position. I don't know if it's going to stay up. There's a lot of deer there, but I don't know. It ended up staying up. He didn't do a lot of economic damage to Wam because Wam got to castle. In time, he was able to make those armored units, those Zugnu, especially Feudal Age Zugnu, were completely inept at that point, and they were obsolete because of all of those armored units. MarineLorD couldn't claw his way back after that. So in a rather dominant showing, you can see the tail of the tape there. Wam's eco pretty much untouched. You can see he's got more food, more wood, more stone, and just about the same amount of gold, but MarineLorD having a couple hundred more. With MarineLorD, I mean, again, it was just not being able to capitalize in that area, and then he was playing catch-up mode for the future after that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Wham played that one really, really well. I feel like, you know, especially with the walls, I think the walls were a big game changer right there for Wham. If he didn't have up those walls, maybe MarineLorD made it to that TC a little bit faster. Maybe, you know, that TC goes down, then Wham loses some villagers. You know, that wall, I feel like, made quite a difference.
And Merlin, you know what would have been really bad for those walls? And I'm going to use a recurring joke here. If there was a gaping hole on the south side, but he was able to patch that up.
He
And those
was.
walls, that little bit of even though those rams took down those walls really, really quickly, it shows the power of walls, even as flimsy as they are, just to give you that little bit of time to get those armored units out. And for Ram, those 15 seconds, those 20 seconds that they had to deal with that wall, it just means those extra couple more units that make all the difference. So it pains me to say it because I hate walling when I play games, but if you want to be a better player, you should probably put walls up.
Yeah, for sure. I think we take a quick look at the league table while we're here, as we got 3 minutes left. Next matchup is going to be MarineLorD on the Roos and Wham on the English. But we take a look here. Have a look at that beastie. Now at rank number 1 on the leaderboard here. Have a look at that. MarineLorD as well has lost another game since. So, I mean, Wham could be making it pretty high up this board if he wins this set.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a big shift in terms of seeding, right? I'm not really sure how when it comes to playoffs, I'm assuming that 1 would match up with 8 and so on, but if you're changing around that seeding a little bit, it could mean that first round of the playoffs goes a little bit differently than you might predict. So with Beastie having taken that number 1 spot, and then Wham, it looks like right now is number 6, could definitely change the tides of that coming into this game 3. This is a pivotal game 3 for both of these players, and it looks like based on the map, we're going to be on the pit for this one.
Yeah, we are. So MarineLorD going to be on the Roos. Civilization that he's got to be feeling pretty happy about. Obviously, he loves the pit. This is going to be one of MarineLorD's most iconic maps. He's always picking the pit as his home map. Usually we see the Abbasid Dynasty out of him on this map, but obviously that's been picked from Wham, and that has already been used in the last match. So Wham going to be going for the English up against the Roos. What are your thoughts on this matchup here?
Yeah, this is as somebody who really loves Roos and plays Roos, this is a matchup that unfortunately I have been a part of, usually on the Roos side. I don't know. It seems a little bit difficult. I mean, some of the unique things that the Roos really like to do, like in Castle Age, things like horse archers, you don't really use them that much against the English. I mean, you do have a little bit of that power spike in Imperial because of getting high armory, getting those wandering towns for those ramps to take down a lot of these landmarks. But for the English player, I mean, we all know for English, it's a very difficult civ to raid. So for Roos, if they wanted to get aggressive in Feudal Age, it becomes a little bit difficult to be honest, this is a matchup when I play it personally, I struggle with it.
Yeah, I do as well. I'm a Roos main as well. So yeah, I think that the most difficult part is just to try and deal with the English economy. They're constantly racing ahead in villages. You can try and match them on a second TC of your own, but you know, if you just play it out to the later stages of the game, English are just going to be just a better civilization in that ultra late game. But we're gonna have to see what MarineLorD can pull out the bag here. Obviously, he's a much better player than either of us are. So we'll have to see, as we're only about 16 seconds away from jumping into this game, which is the decider match in this best of 3, and also the last set of the
now
day.
that we're gonna load into this game in just a couple seconds, but I'm looking at all these kind messages in chat. Number 1, thanks guys for hanging out for EGC TV2 in the B stream. Go ahead and hit that follow, and also, Merlin, could I get a suit? Everybody is talking about your suit. I feel like I should get one, and I feel out of the loop. But anyway, we're gonna go into our game. Merlin, hit us with those intros.
All right, welcome to the third and final game in this best of 3 between MarineLorD and Wam. Spawning in on the right-hand side, it's MarineLorD playing as the Roos. And we're on his famous map, The Pit. Gonna be opening up with double hunting cabin. Have a look at that. Who's he gonna be playing against?
I absolutely love it. We're going to talk about that in just a second. But playing as the English in the color blue. I'm going to keep this intro short because Wam, playing as the English, has a barracks out. He's sending a men-at-arms of the Vanguard variety over to that Roos base. He's getting pretty cheeky in Dark Age.
Wow. Okay, this is interesting. Up against the Roos as well. Okay, I mean, I guess maybe Wam knows about this double hunting cabin, because that is a lot of gold income per minute right there. That's almost a relic with these 2 hunting cabins. So maybe Wam's decision here is to try and burn these down, because you're not going to be finding a lot of other value with this men-at-arm, really. Because, you know, Roos aren't going to be on the gold. They're not going to be on the stone. They're not going to be on the early wood.
Yeah, you kind of hit the nail on the head. The Roos is not a particularly raidable civilization. It's one of the reasons why I love playing it, because I hate getting raided. So with those 2 hunting cabins being outside of the range of the starting town center, it just means that men-at-arms, and just sending 1 or 2, and Wam's electing to go for 2 in this route, could get him to burn some of those down. Something that if you're a Roos player and you play on the Pit, you should probably be doing what MarineLorD is doing, because that extra, it was 62 gold a minute if I remember correctly on those 2 hunting cabins. It's like on, oh my god, it's 68 now. It's going up as soon as I'm talking. But for these hunting cabins, it really is. It's like minute 1. Hey, here's a relic. Have fun with it.
Wam is going to be moving in now with those men-at-arms. They are pretty slow. It does look like he's going to be starting to siege down that first hunting cabin. MarineLorD doesn't really have an answer to this. You know, he's just going to have to sit here and watch. But, you know, wheelbarrow's going to come through. MarineLorD's already made a decent amount of coin. Or not coin, gold from this hunting cabin. You know, he's already made, what, 60? We're almost at the 3-minute mark. So, you know, almost 100. He's almost made back, in terms of resources, what this hunting cabin cost. So, at the end of the day, is it really that bad losing this hunting cabin?
No, I mean, probably not, now that we're 3 minutes into the game. I don't think that I agree with a lot of messages that I'm seeing in chat. I'm not really sure if it warranted this kind of Dark Age aggression and delay your own Feudal Age because of this, to take down 1 hunting cabin, because obviously it can get rebuilt. But MarineLorD going for, obviously, the Kremlin over there on the eastern side of his base, going to be able to protect his gold and a little bit of his wood line when he decides to make a hunting cabin there. Wham with that council hall on gold villagers, with using gold villagers as all good English players do. Now with the Kremlin, I really like this place. It's really important to be a little bit more forward from the resources that you're gathering, because you know you're going to have longbows against you.
Yeah, this is a really nice position. He's going to be able to get the influence over here as well for the wood line. Going to be able to protect up that gold, so got to be feeling pretty happy about that position. We see Wam does take out that first hunting cabin, but I don't think he's going to be able to take out the second one here. I mean, maybe with the scout here as well, maybe it does get taken out. But the amount of value that MarineLorD's already got from these 2 hunting cabins is huge. Like, we see he's stacking up gold in the bank right now, and he should be able to call militia. So maybe we see militia. Could definitely be an option for MarineLorD. He's currently population capped, so not going to be able to call them quite yet, if that is the plan. There we go. House going to get dropped down. So maybe we see militia. I think it could be a good call here, as MarineLorD, he's on tier 2 bounty. We know that from the gold income here, but we can take a little look. So let me hop outside the UA. So I do apologize for the little lag right there, but we can see 275. That's definitely not 80 bounty, but decent number.
Oh, without that caster UI, I feel naked. But that house coming down for MarineLorD, and gets to get a stable as well. So obviously, I mean, you see a couple men-at-arms in your base. Having something like an early night, excuse me, is going to help you. Even sends a villager out there to repair that hunting cabin. I mean, all you need is 1, And then those Kremlins, militia, those little gremlins fed those little guys after midnight. That's not an axe, it's a bardiche, guys, if you guys want to know what weapon they use. So they'll be able to take it to those Vanguard men-at-arms, leather helmets and all, to the point where they gotta back up.
Yeah, we can see there, Wam, unfortunately, isn't going to be able to take out that hunting cabin. MarineLorD looking in a great spot this game so far. No, Wam, he makes it up to the next stage. He's also going to be gathering some stone for a second TC. But this could have been up a lot earlier if he didn't decide to go for the two men-at-arms. You know, sure, it's two men-at-arms, but it's also a barracks, right? You're investing a lot right at the beginning of the game for those two men-at-arms. And as a result of that, you've delayed yourself a lot on this second TC. So, we'll have to see how this does, but MarineLorD, he's already up to... You know, he's got two militia, he's about to have a night out. This second TC may be denied out if MarineLorD's on top of this. As we see, he's going to be sending out the scouts now. There's a TC coming down on the deer pack.
It's a crazy amount of game sense that MarineLorD actually has. I mean, maybe this is luck and I'm giving him too much credit, but having those scouts go directly where that town center is going to go, that's game sense that most of the players that play AoE could only dream of. And you, exactly as you called it, Merlin, that night, trying to pick off a couple villagers. This town center about 60%. We'll see if the knight actually gets there in time.
Might be one dead villager, but then some damage might get put onto the knight. It looks like MarineLorD is going to be committing to it. There's one dead. Oh, that's going to be a dead villager. There he goes. I'm going to be hopping inside of the TC there. Some damage is going to get put onto that early knight. It does look like MarineLorD is able to escape with barely any damage. Definitely worth taking out the one villager.
Yeah, and every little bit of helps for damage on that knight. Also, I really like what Wam's doing in terms of these walls. Didn't necessarily get finished. Again, its weakest link was over there on the eastern side, so MarineLorD, excuse me, was able to get the knight and the scouts over there. Wam has to respond with the spearman. Nice, he did make the barracks in Dark Age, so he's able to react to this pretty well. That knight looks like it's in a danger zone. It goes down whether it wants to or not.
I think the English villagers may be able to pick that off. Seems like it was left on 4 HP. MarineLorD, how did he save that?
Oh
my goodness.
I really wish that knight died because I look terrible now.
We actually see a second TC coming down now from MarineLorD on his deer pack. Looking pretty happy over here. We see currently both sitting at the same amount of villagers.
Yeah, that second TC for the French, obviously, or the Rus, excuse me, obviously going to help him out against the English, who got their second TC up just a little bit quicker. But take a look what we have here on the south side. A little bit of those militia again, getting cheeky. And I mean, English, we talk about English not being a very raidable base, but for these militia, they're such expendable units. They cost 40 food for 2 of them. So just going in there, creating a little bit of idle time, they end up going down, they end up going down. What's the difference?
Yeah, exactly. And at the moment, Wam doesn't have a single... Well, I say that he's made his first longbow, but that single longbow isn't going to be able to shut down these militia very fast. So, you know, there should be some good idle time here for MarineLorD. He's going to be running in there with the scouts and the knight. Maybe you don't bring the knight, but we see here some great idle time already. And as you say, it's only 120 food for all 6 of these militia. And the amount of idle time that they're causing right now, it's probably already been worth it. As we see, Wam was pushed off the farms. He was pushed off the wood line, and he's still pushed off that wood line. So it's huge value for him right there.
Well, yeah, I mean, you had 9 villagers in the town center, along with 10 having short bows trying to take out those militia. So again, I mean, exactly right, for 120 food. It's pretty crazy. But take a look on the north side of that map, actually, and chat pointed it out before we did. MarineLorD going for that 3rd town center, making sure that he has the economic advantage, especially going into Castle Age, where Wam can do something like add a King's Palace as a 3rd.
Interestingly, Wam is ahead by 3 villagers somehow. Maybe MarineLorD hasn't been making from the TC a little bit. But MarineLorD should be able to catch up. But as you say, Wam could always think about going into the King's Palace. I doubt we'll be seeing a white tower. If we do, maybe we see it in the center of the map possibly. Or maybe over here on the sacred site. Could definitely be an option. But I think it will be the King's Palace here.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, you got to keep up. It's basically when it comes to town centers, and even in this matchup, it's like keeping up with the Joneses, right? You got to make sure that you have the same amount of town centers, if not more, than your opponent, because that economically can obviously snowball. But MarineLorD, with the amount of food economy that he actually has, although it's Gaia food resources, I did hear a boar get angry on the northern side, so he did pull some pork over to that northern town center. So with the bounty that he has, it is going to help his food economy, and if he wants to go 3TC into Castle Age, he's going to do it pretty easily.
I feel like you could probably pull this boar as well. Just like pull it into Wam's economy right there. Just be a little bit sneaky. I mean, to be fair, Wam could probably eat it as well, but yeah.
I was going to say, and you know what? I've done that before against a player. Then they were like, oh, I just have a free 2,000 food, and then I realized never to do that again.
Yeah. Wam going to be moving out now with 5 villagers. Not exactly sure what that was for, but you know, he okay. Just going to be setting up some farms now. MarineLorD, he's going to be aging up here with the high trade house. It's prediction time. It's prediction time. Everyone in the chat, get your prediction in. How much gold is this going to make? MarineLorD's on tier 2 bounty. So get in your prediction. I'm going to guess 164.
Pretty low. I'm going to say 236.
Really? That's quite high. That's quite high.
Yeah, I'm more of an optimist in general. So I think that trade house. It's going to get quite a few. Look at all these numbers we got in chat. I got to see a 235 from Demo, 201 from Sam I Am. We got about 10 seconds left. Everybody, get your bets in. 183 from Killjardy, 215 from Ness Hype, 196 from Angelica. This is my favorite part of the stream. I don't even care about the game at this point. Get the high trade house up. What do we got?
241.
241. I see Cow with 240. I see Fan Ferrari with 240. Oh my God! Look at these ridiculous numbers.
I was nowhere close.
BKRN went with 241 after the high trade house was built. So you are now banned and disqualified from all future contests. But for the ones who did get 240, congratulations. You guys win absolutely nothing, but I really appreciate your guesses.
Petito guessing 842. You were close. You were close, mate. You were close. But MarineLorD now trying to get up some walls here on the right-hand side. Unfortunately, he's going to get denied away as Wam has his little army here. And looks like he's going to be going into some knights. Has down double stable. MarineLorD as well looking to go into knights. So both looking to go into knights. And this is where you got to favor the Rus. Because the Rus, they've got access to Boyar's Fortitude. We talk about this upgrade a lot. You know, it's huge for the Rus. Absolutely huge. An extra 30 HP for such a cheap cost is huge. And then, of course, Saint's Blessing, as you keep on banging on about, Tim. You love that. Yeah. You love that ability.
I'm a big Saint's Blessing guy now. That English Knight is going to get some hits on those villagers. Ooh, one villager actually ends up going down, the second worker kill for Wam in this battle. But yeah, Saint's Blessing, now that everybody is here from the mainstream, I'm going to talk about how good Saint's Blessing is. Just to get that little bit of extra damage, that little bit of extra armor, it can turn the tide in just about every fight. If you're a Rus player, just get Saint's Blessing when you're going up to these fights, especially with those knights. And if you're going up against knights for the English player, just like you talked about, they don't have any specific upgrades. They don't have a Boyar's Fortitude. They don't even have Saints to bless them. So if you're going to go in a knight versus knight battle, you got to give it to the Rus player.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that you could give over to the English is if it's in a defensive position, you got network of castles. That's pretty much the only thing that they've got going for them.
Yeah, and that does help, of course, but I like to forget about that because we're talking about how good the Rus Knights are, okay?
True. It looks like MarineLorD's got 3 relics coming home right now, may even be able to pick up the 4th one. Wam does have down a monastery of his own, so we'll be looking to pick these up. MarineLorD trying to bring this as far away as possible. Looks like it will be going down, though. Not a fight MarineLorD can take. Doesn't have through his Boyar's Fortitude upgrade quite yet.
Yeah, I mean, with that Relic and the Warrior Monk, he does gain a little bit of field position, right? Just getting it a little bit closer. He is going to wall up, or at least attempt to, over there on the south side with Fortified Palisades. It means that Monk has to wander just a little bit more And look at that. That is a just about 2-tile gaping hole for that monk to pick up that relic, perhaps get that sacred site. But MarineLorD's got something to say about it. Look at this night mass.
Yeah, exactly. And Boyle's Fortitude is now through, so these knights are going to have 30 extra HP compared to the knights here of Wams. And with that, that relic is going to get picked up. So MarineLord's going to be feeling pretty happy about the 4 relics that he's got in the bank. Very unlikely that he's going to be grabbing this one. So, I mean, I think he's pretty happy with just the 4.
Oh yeah, I mean the four relics going to be fantastic. It's going to carry him throughout this game, and as we can see, these areas of the pit, the 3 little avenues that we should say that the pit's usually made of, now that they're getting walled, we're ready for the late game now. I mean, we're going to be playing on the pit. We know that this game is probably not going to end within the next 5, even 10 minutes. So now that we're walling up, those 4 relics are going to help him contest the enclosures of English and Imperial Age. And I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but it kind of, we're starting to unravel, and we're starting to get to that point. The huge knights get some charges out.
Crossbows are in here for MarineLord. He's up to quite a significant mass. Needs to try and micro down those spears. Veterancy upgrades are in on those. Looks like both players just going to be falling back for the time being. Now, something to keep in mind here is that MarineLord has all 3 sacred sites on his side of the map. This could be... Oh, okay, well, it looks like he's just going to be walling this 3rd one out, so ignore that one. Ignore that one, I guess.
I was going to say, for the first 2, look at the way he walled. You know, he's just making sure that those fortified palisades are going to give him just that little bit extra time if he has to react to 2 of those sacred sites. So it's 4 relics. It's the high trade house at 241 gold per minute, right? And it's 2 sacred sites. We've been casting for about 7 hours, so I'm not going to do the math, but it's a lot.
Yeah, it certainly is. Sacred sites going to be able to provide MarineLord a lot of gold. I kind of want to do the maths. Can someone do the maths in the chat? We can make chat do it. That's what they're for. That's what they're there for, right?
Well, yeah, it'd be 485, 621, I believe, gold per minute.
That's a lot. That is a lot. MarineLord's going to be very happy about that. And we see, you know, his villager count is relatively even to Wams, both setting on 3 TCs, including that King's Palace here for Wam. So, both, you know, MarineLord's going to be feeling pretty happy about this position so far. And now, MarineLord's looking to take control of this 3rd sacred site.
Yeah, that outpost just got the Springald upgrade, only to be reduced to rubble. It's such a painful thing to experience. But now MarineLord trying to take the fight near Wam's own palisade wall. Look at how many spearmen Wam has, Merlin. That's going to help him immensely. That
is a lot of spears right there. We've also got some longbow in here as well. I'm not sure if they're just left over from the last stage. Nope, there they are. Instantly queued up some more, so it does seem like Wam is wanting to make a little bit of a longbow transition now. Also going to be dropping down a market, maybe wanting to trade a little bit here. I mean, his macro looks alright.
I think some of the difference is the amount of resources that both players actually have stockpiled. I mean, you can see MarineLord, he's got about 2,000 food. I'm not sure if he's going to want to go Imperial at this stage. I mean, it could give him some benefit. The one thing he might do is try to deny this keep. There's no English soldiers over here.
Yeah, Wam caught out of position right there. This keep, I don't think it'll be going down. I think it'll just get delayed. But MarineLord, if he's going to be going Imperial Age, we see he's only a couple hundred food away. He's currently population capped. He'll be grabbing a lot of his upgrades right now. Looks like he wants to go into some archers as well, grabbing the veterancy upgrade for that unit.
And it makes sense for how many spearmen are here, right? I mean, Wam's army composition, predominantly it's 50-50 between spearmen and other things, right? So just having those archers are really going to help him out. That keep finally going down for Wam, close, probably as quickly as possible, trying to get that network of citadels upgrade, because we all know that's probably one of the most overpowered techs this game has to offer.
I think I see where this... There it is. High armory going to be dropped down here next to the 2 siege workshops. So MarineLord going to be focusing his attention now on the left-hand side of the map here. Definitely a smart decision. Obviously, Wam's base is positioned over to this left side of the pit.
Yeah, and I think this is the only place, especially for MarineLord on the left side of the map, this is the only position that he really doesn't have a stranglehold over, because he has fortified palisades in the middle and the right side. So he's really focusing on the left, that other palisade wall. It looks like if he does choose to burn it, and he does, this means Wam's eco, because there's a lot of it over there on that west side, could get raided, but Wam just barreling his way down the middle.
MarineLorD reaches that Imperial Age. Gonna be heading into the base here, starting to add in some horsemen. The horsemen and knights both are affected by Boya's fortitude. Siege workshops not producing anything quite yet. It does look like
all
one.
of a sudden, oh, this keep is not going to go up for MarineLorD, but all of a sudden, now that he does have those 3 sacred sites, the middle one is getting contested, but does put Wam on a clock.
Yeah, this isn't a problem here for Wam at all. We can see he's about to capture up this sacred site. It's going to be difficult for Wam to recapture this one as well with this keep here. But MarineLorD going to be trying to pick off the trebuchet here. Just going to be diving his whole army in here. Have a look at that. Just going to be committing underneath the keep here. No boiling oil in. And now MarineLorD just going to be dipping out of there. I feel like that
like with all of the,
wasn't the best
with
idea.
all of the knights, even though they are blessed by the saint, just a keep's not going to help with all of those thoughts and prayers for those knights. They're still going to get taken down by those keeps. MarineLorD's going to have to kite with these units, and MarineLorD added those 2 siege workshops. We talked about rams a little bit, but he's going with a heavy hitter. He's added bombards instead.
Yeah, double bombard going to be coming through next to the high armory here, so they are going to be discounted. We see they're only 240 wood, 480 bombard. Bombard goals. What is wrong with me? Getting my words muddled. But yeah, double bombard coming through here for MarineLorD. Going to be starting to focus down this keep. But the question is he going to be able to focus down this keep if a Berkshire is in the way?
Absolutely not. And if this Berkshire does get built, and I'm sure it will, we're going to be seeing those Berkshire arrows being fired essentially off screen in a different area code through all of these archers, knights, bombards alike. Doesn't matter. It's one of those things that now the middle is shored up for Wam. If MarineLorD wants to deal with it, it's going to need either a metric crap ton of more bombards or trebuchets, but now bombards are on the Berkshire, so it's going to be at limited health by the time it gets done.
Damage. That is a lot of damage being put onto the Berkshire right there, and Imperial upgrades are through. We've got elite archers, no elite crossbows through, and this Berkshire is very low on HP. We see it's down to 1,500 HP. MarineLorD, he can't commit to it though. We see first bombard going to be going down, second one may look to get taken out here, as the Berkshire in fact has a longer range than the bombard, which is absolutely crazy. But you know, if for some reason it has longer range, and MarineLorD here making elite archers. What is this madness? I've never seen a Rus elite archer. Legitimately,
yeah,
I've never seen this unit.
I mean, I know the elite horse archers get those nice coats. I didn't know they gave them to the archers as well. So whether you're on horse or on foot, you still get those jackets. But he's also adding in, it looks like there are only 2 or 3 Streltsy here. I'd be really surprised if MarineLorD started to add even more Streltsy, because for Wam, I mean, those longbowmen just end up being the ultimate counter.
Yeah, MarineLorD instead just going to be adding in archers and horsemen, going for a very trash tier composition here. And I guess, well, not trash tier composition, but trash unit composition. And instead going to be spending the gold on siege, which definitely does make sense. I mean, it's kind of hard to make Streltsy up against the longbow, as you say. So instead, MarineLorD going to be going heavy into siege, heavy into archers. Going to be dropping down a keep now in the center of the map. Little raiding party.
Yeah, and also changing up his siege composition, adding a couple trebuchets as well. I do like how you pointed out the raid and a couple villagers might end up going down, but Wam making sure that doesn't happen again. Instead of those palisades, adding stone walls.
Yeah, he's going to need to delete a house here, or maybe the wall, to be able to finish this wall. So instead, he's having to bring his army over to try and defend from this. Stone wall will be enough, though, to corner.
Yeah, it looks like those horsemen do have to back up. So now with these guys, they are just about population capped on all the 199 on one side, 200 on the other side. And now we're going to see the age-old AoE 4 post-Imperial gameplay where both of these guys have a lot of units and have the stockpile to continue producing units. So they're just going to beat each other's heads against their own respective walls, and we'll see which one cracks.
I don't know if you've seen that 3-hour game that Zerton played up against B, but ever since that game, I'm kind of worried. You know, what if this game's 3 hours long? You know? I didn't think it was a possibility before that game, but it clearly is. So, you never know when could be the next 3-hour long game played in Age of Empires 4.
Yeah, I don't want to answer that question because you already put it out there. This has the potential, and I really don't want to have that in the environment at this point in time, because obviously, I mean, this is a pivotal game 3 as we're seeing the longbowmen trying to take hits on those villagers, trying to get the wooden outpost. Horsemen might be able to get a little bit of that charge, but end up backing up Berkshire, firing from Narnia. As you can see, that horseman going down by the firing arrow. The MarineLorD finally has the Berkshire counter. There's a couple of trebuchets over there. Now all you got to do is protect them.
Looks like the Berkshire has been fully repaired up. Wam now going to be adding in an outpost for that vision. He's also dropping down a stone wall on the right-hand side of the map here. MarineLorD, unfortunately. Oh, he's going to be able to... Go on, say it, Tim. Say it.
It's a gaping hole over there on the south side. Look at how many dead villagers there are. Somebody said in chat, this guy really likes gaping holes, and boy, do I. Look at this raid over here on the south end. So many workers are going to end up going down. The wall does get somewhat started, but it does mean you can torch him down over there on the south side. So if he isn't able to get that wall completely up, it could potentially be future raids.
Indeed. And Wam, looks like he's still got a decent mass of longbow. Longbow spears. Finally going to be adding in some horsemen here. Not something that we see every day from the English.
That siege a little bit unprotected, though. Some horsemen might be able to try to take one of them out. I really don't think that there's enough, but look at what's going on the south end of this base, Merlin, that you're seeing on your screen. A little proxy base, taking a little bit of that gold, and it means just because of that hole, we're going to talk about the hole one more time, just because of that on the south end, it means that proxy base ends up being completed. If Wam doesn't spot this and deal with it, this could be game ending.
It could be. I feel like at that point, you wanna make Wam think he's safe with this wall. You know, give it like 5 minutes. Let him wall this back up. You know, make him think he's all safe on this side of the map, and then hit him with this.
I know, a little bit of slow play. I see what you're doing. Okay, but now with 5 or 6 barracks and another raid over there on the south side, trying to get the siege at the same time. A lot of Wam villagers going down. 37 total worker kills for MarineLorD. You can tell in terms of the battle of the raids, MarineLorD's doing a better job.
He certainly is. We can see he's taken out 43 villagers this game. Not a huge deal here for Wam. He's going to be able to replace them pretty easily. It's not the end of the world, but, you know, you don't really want to be losing them. And we see here, Wam, he's got quite a trebuchet mass. Also has shattering projectiles, so has able to do some decent damage onto MarineLorD's trebuchets here with his own, so getting pretty good value there.
Yeah, and I know for these trebuchets, they will be trying to hit this keep. Now, it's not exactly a Berkshire keep, but the Ruse keep is what's really keeping MarineLorDs in the center of this map able for him to continue to fight and try to take down some of these trebuchets. So if he's able to take down those keeps, it's a good idea. But Wam, not necessarily, you know, he's trying to be in the center, trying to establish a presence with trebuchets, but at the same time, he's getting consistently raided. Oh my god, Wam's trying to do a little bit of counter raid with those horsemen. There's some Streltsy, there's some archers here, but it looks like we got another hole, Merlin.
I've got to say, Wam's making some good progress at the moment. He's losing a lot of villagers here as we see the men-at-arms coming through from the proxy base. And Wam's starting to lose out on quite a few villagers, but at the same time, Wam, he's in the base of MarineLorD here with some horsemen. Is the keep going to be going up? I think it will be going up. Textiles is through. We've got, you know, blacksmith upgrades on these guys as well, with some reinforcements coming through. But MarineLorD here, he's taken out a lot of economy. We see he's taken out 64 villagers this game.
And also, I think we should comment on what kind of unit MarineLorD actually decided to make. He went with the men-at-arms because there's horsemen, there's longbowmen, there's spearmen. over there from Wam. If you've noticed, all three of those things that I said don't really deal well against Men-at-Arms. That's why they're still in the base. Wam has to transition and make Men-at-Arms by himself in order to actually stop these raids from happening. We're up to almost 100 worker kills. Wam's at 98 now.
Yeah, that's huge there for MarineLorD. Finally, some reinforcements coming in here for Wam. Gonna be able to shut this down, but the question is he gonna be able to stop this proxy base? We gotta keep over here with boiling oil in. We got villagers here at the ready to hop inside. And also, MarineLorD is taking all of the gold from a MarineLorD side of the base.
Yeah, and honestly, he's keeping it as a stockpile. Look at how many resources he has. He has about 10,000 gold that he's going to continue to pump units out, continue to pump siege out, whereas Wam, he's got to rely on his enclosures. I mean, if you're English, it's probably the one civ that I would try to use in this situation when you don't have any gold, but it only comes in and it'll trickle. You know, MarineLorD's going to have all of those expensive units to try to help you out. And now Merlin, huge battle. There's a lot of Streltsy in here.
Huge amount. 22 Streltsy. I mean, he's making use of all of that gold as he has 10,000 gold in the bank. That's enough for a wonder.
Don't say it. You already said
I want to see it.
Again.
I want to see it.
But it looks like MarineLorD has to back up. I mean, it's just too much defense here with Berkshire and the Keep. The Streltsy obviously don't do well against archer fire, whether it be from Keep. Berkshire is going to continue to, when they get back to their Muscovite home, they're still going to get hit by that Berkshire Palace because of the range on it. But now with these trebuchets, I mean, you got to be able to protect these. There's a reason why Berkshire's still up, and you got to do something about it.
I mean, MarineLorD's had these two trebuchets slowly peppering it down for a while, but you know, it just takes so much to take it down. But Wam on the other side, in the south of the map here, he's got double ram trying to take down this battering ram. We got sprung in placement through, cannon placement also coming through, but yeah, this Keep isn't going down. Men-at-Arms just so strong here for MarineLorD, and he's got through. Actually, I don't think he has through Elite Army Tactics yet. No, it's the one upgrade he hasn't grabbed. So you know, these Men-at-Arms could be even better if they wanted to. Be.
Yeah, they definitely don't have their full potential. But now that south base is due to alive again, Wam has to split his military in two different areas. Wam going a little bit more in the horseman regard, going to do well against the Streltsy just because of how much Streltsy there are. We talk about the amount of army value that's going to be lost here. These Streltsy are going to continue to be disintegrated. There's about a third of them left, if not a quarter. But MarineLorD has the ability to continue to refill this just because of how much gold he has. Look at Wam's stockpile right now. He's got nothing. Yeah,
MarineLorD just so far ahead when it comes to that gold. You know, this. In fact, is Wam out of gold? He's got this. This is his last gold. He needs to try and secure more gold. As we see here, MarineLorD's pretty much taken all of it. Only 2,000 left on it, and it's going to continue to get taken away from him. As we see, MarineLorD is holding over here.
And there's a reason why. I mean, even though Wam has the food economy, another big fight. Looks like Streltsy have a front line this time. I think a lot of these horsemen are going to end up going down. The cost of a couple Streltsy, however.
I mean, does it really matter to MarineLorD? I mean, he's got so much gold in the bank. It's probably easier for him to make Streltsy than it is archers.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, we talk about Wam's food per minute. Obviously, he has a lot of food per minute. The issue is he's spending a lot of food right now on the military that he's choosing to produce. He's going into horsemen, he's going into men-at-arms, he's adding hand cannoneers as well, which is going to be a little bit in the food regard as well. So he's not going to be able to stockpile. He's not getting those really efficient trades, and there's a reason why. The men-at-arms that you were showing on the screen on this south side, Wam has had difficulty dealing with them for probably about 5 or 6 minutes now.
It's huge, and MarineLorD, he hasn't even bothered with Elite Army Tactics. I feel like you would have got some value from it with the amount of gold you got in the bank anyway. You know, it's worth grabbing, but obviously MarineLorD doesn't need it. He's going to use up all of the gold over here, take it away from Wam, and then he's just going to, you know, continue to rally these men-at-arms into the base as we see MarineLorD getting even more worker kills. 90. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah, and I think this is the difference. Like, we're looking at population count. MarineLorD, every time he loses a unit, he's able to consistently repopulate. Wam has been sitting on 160 population for quite some time, and there's a reason why. If you don't have the stockpile, one, if you don't have the military production buildings, which it looks like Wam does, but if you don't have the stockpile to reproduce that quickly and have them in queue already, it means your population is going to dip. We're at the 140s for Wam now.
It's looking rough for Wam. We see the Berkshire under a lot of strain right now as 4 trebuchets slowly start taking that one down. MarineLorD also taking out even more villagers here on the gold. MarineLorD realizes that villagers are starting to run low for Wam. And soon, once this gold is gone, Wam is goldless in the base. The only way he's going to be gathering gold is with the one relic he's got in the bank and enclosures.
And you know what's super important too, is just because that wood line got raided, he's trying to repair the Berkshire. He's using the last of his wood in order to do so, and he's consistently repairing it right now. I saw him at 69 wood, nice for just a little bit, but continuing to make changes. Now those battering rams, you see them at 504 health. I think those are wandering towns, my friend.
They sure are, and they've probably got lightweight beams as well. And we just see the amount of damage they're able to put onto that Berkshire. And once this goes down, it's going to be extremely hard for Wam to try and hold this position, as the keep will shortly be going down, as well as we have 4 trebuchets, 2 rams. Wam is being rammed.
Yeah, that those English villagers, soldiers, and all that, whoever lived in that Berkshire palace, man, did they have a story to tell. They got beaten by literally a walking town.
Indeed. MarineLorD. We see here Wam. It's so hard for him. He's got so many villagers over. He's going to be losing out on so many. I mean, sure, he's on 3 TC, but it's still going to take him so long to replace all of these villagers. We see more and more men-at-arms making their way in here. It's looking like it's the end of the road here for Wam.
Yeah, and those Streltsy annihilating all of those villagers, that was essentially target practice when they didn't necessarily need the practice. At this point, 80 villagers, 115 pop. He's going to continue. He's going to give it his best because this is a best of 3 series. This is game 3, so he's going to give it all he got. But now that raid finally into that English underbelly where all of those farms are, this is doomed.
MarineLorD just looking so strong this game. And there it is. GG gets called. MarineLorD going to be taking this set 2-1.
Oh my god, what a series. And that was that last game was definitely the cherry on top of not only the series but the whole Saturday that we had. I mean, I want to say the MVP is the proxy base, Merlin.
Yeah, that was pretty big brain from MarineLorD. That came through really, really clutch. It's able to do so much economic damage.
And now I think with MarineLorD, this was the second loss in this series, but Brybird said it correctly in chat. I think MarineLorD right now 16-2.
Yeah,
insane.
That is crazy. That is crazy. Which they
imagine like from 16 to 18, so that's 1/9. That's an 88.8% win rate. Imagine having that in ladder, let alone an elite classic tournament where you have some of the best players. It's amazing.